Episode 154. We're still in lockdown,
Yes.
as evidenced by Scott's hair and beard. I think you're calling it the Whitmer, right?
Yeah, the Whitmer. Yeah, I'm starting to like it this length though, so we'll see. Who knows? Maybe I'll just go full on Viking. I don't know. That or Captain Lou Albano. Stick rubber bands.
Well, now you get some rubber bands and start fixing that, and
you know, I love how you put the new intro up. That was such a fun day meeting Dee Snyder. Way back 154 episodes ago.
Yeah, it was right before we started. We were at the Motor City Nightmares there in Novi at the Sheridan, and I think it was Danny. That was his buddy's name that runs everything for him, and we were just chatting with him. He goes, "Well, why don't we get Dee to do an intro for you guys, and you can meet him real quick?" And we were really just chatting about everything, and it was it was unexpected, so it was really cool. Dee was awesome, which is funny because this morning I woke up and I'm flipping through Facebook, and someone had shared from 35 years ago now. 35, 25. I don't know, 35. Math is off. Yeah, 35 because it was 1985. He went and spoke in front of Congress to Al Gore and a bunch of them because Tipper was about we got to ban rock, we need a label and stuff like that. And they showed like John Denver and Frank Zappa and all coming in the suits, and Dee comes in wearing the cut off shirt, the jean jacket, straight up 80s hair. He was basically ready to go on stage and rock it out. And he brings out his speech from his back pocket folded up. It was great because he goes and he basically laid into him, and stuff like one of their songs, the song about Blade. It was like Tipper said it's about sadomasochism and something like that, and he's like, yeah, she saw that into it. That's not what it was about, and basically just made her look bad and stuff like that. And it was funny though, at the end of this video, it said that showed where Dee Snyder, and we learned this from Danny too. He's never done drugs. He doesn't drink. He's got a healthy lifestyle. He's been married to his wife for about 40 years. Doesn't run around on her and stuff like that. They're still happily married, and Tipper and Al separated. And while I think they're still married on paper, they still date other people.
Right.
So much for their family council. Of course, they were supposedly the liberals, but the liberals are always like that about control and things like that. So, but this is not a political show. This is about a fun show, and we're here for Odd Musings. So, but we probably should take care of some business. We always have some business to take care of. So we should start off with some ad reads. So Scott, why don't you take us off, man?
All right. Well, let's kick it off with our good old friends at Stony Creek Hemp. That's right, Stony Creek Hemp. They provide 100% quality hemp CBD products, and we rave about them every week because their products work. That's why. StonyCreekHemp.com is their website, and it really is easy to use. You go right down the list here. The topical cream is my go-to right here. It's only $25, $24.99. They ship anywhere in the U.S. there. You got the topical cream with lavender. So if you want the benefits of lavender, you can get that as well. You got the hemp oil, pet oils. I've been currently using my beard oil from them. So I do feel like it's a little softer. It's interesting. Beard hair is weird because it's like can be so opposite of your head hair. My head hair is soft and extremely straight. My beard hair is coarse and very curly. It's crazy. It does its own thing. But I do feel like it's taming it a little bit using the beard oil. So that's pretty cool.
Excellent.
And and then you can also get their products over at our other awesome sponsors.
Oh, yes. And that is going to be, I'm half out of it today, but hey, we've got Larger Family Chiropractic Center PC. So, and at Larger Family Chiropractic Center PC, they do take great pride in providing the finest chiropractic care to each and every patient, offering on-site digital x-rays, massage therapy, orthotics by foot levelers, young living essential oils, the CBD oil from Stony Creek Hemp, Full line of items, all in a family-oriented environment. You can give them a call at their Belleville location, 734-697-4244. They're also located besides Belleville, Michigan, Dexter, Michigan. Visit them online at your website there we're showing, Loringer Family Chiropractic. We do have a link on that page, and as you scroll down, you can see there's the outside of the Belleville location, and there's Dr. Anna and Dr. Brian in that, so you can definitely go see them, as well as Dr. Tyler, Dr. Lisa, and Dr. Corinne. So they got a great practice going on, and someday when our governor allows, they will have massages again, but right now the massages are on hold, but we should hopefully have them pretty soon. Don't, because it's a good therapeutic thing to have. Massages aren't just about you feeling good for a moment. It's about helping your overall health along with everything else that chiropractic offers in these days. I was just there yesterday, got adjusted, felt great afterwards, feel great today. And of course, using the CBD from them, as well as my normal line of vitamins, everything else, all about trying to be healthy in this day of COVID and that. So definitely check them out. And if you're not in the area, check out your local chiropractors. If you need a good one, contact Lorangers. They can definitely help you out on that. So, and then Scott's also got
Team Titans of Real Estate. Why? Because you matter. And, you know, we always put our relationship with our clients as our #1 priority. But, you know, the ban is lifted as far as real estate goes. We are allowed to sell houses. And we have this wonderful house that just went live today. I'm telling you, we are really seeing a rush on houses. They are, one agent I was talking to yesterday, he has these clients. They have done offers on multiple houses. They've lost out on the deals, and they're bidding high, and they're still not getting them. So that as of right now, that wave of pent up demand we felt we were going to get, it does appear to be happening. We don't have the hard data until next month to know what's going on this month, but anecdotally, a lot of agents I'm talking to are feeling a surge. So things are moving. So if you need it, you know, the good houses are selling fast. This is a great house. It's located over by 13 Mile in Van Dyke. It's a 1,400 square foot ranch built in 2001, 3 bedrooms, 2 full baths on the main floor, open layout, cathedral ceilings. It's a great home for whoever wants it. It's a finished basement. It's really close to shopping and entertainment. And if you have a long commute, 696 is not too far away as well. So easy access to the highway. So it's listed at only $200,000. It's a great buy, and it truly is move-in ready. When you walk through this house, it's very, very clean. And you know, sometimes you go into homes and it's like, oh, we're gonna have to power wash this house before we can move in. Not this house. It's a great home. Yeah, it does happen. But yeah, so check it out. Give us a call. My number is 586-549-6096. So I just want to do that. And then I just want to quickly give a shout out to my real estate partner, Jill Webler. I'm going to share here a screen. People who know her, I know Brett and Kevin Meinert know. Her family recently is, let me get over to the screen here really quick just so I can pull it up while I do it. Their oldest daughter, Emily, has, when she was 2, she had leukemia, and they overcame it. And now here it is, she's like 21 now. So 19 years later, it's come back. And so they've been in the hospital fighting that. And Emily's been doing an amazing job. And let's see here. So anyways, Jill, Emily has some special needs. And so she doesn't have her own Facebook account. So Jill has put together a Facebook page for her so people can send in, you know, words of encouragement or whatever they want. So I'm going to just share that real quick. So if anybody is interested, there we go. The page is titled Smile with Emily. And yeah, if you want to just, you know, pop over there, it's facebook.com/smilewithemilyw at the end is how you find it. But you just go on there, click the like page, and feel free to post your smile, post words of encouragement, whatever you want. It'll definitely go a long ways and keeping her spirits up, but she's doing well. So she's bringing smiles to everyone in the hospital, and this is absolutely love her. So keep them in your prayers. And if you follow the page, you can see here. So right here, today's smile is brought to you by Emily doing one of her favorite hobbies, cooking. So this was a previous picture of her. She's taking classes too for cooking at the school she goes to. And there's just a variety of pictures here. I was going to find one from in the hospital, doing FaceTime with her sisters. There's Jill with her daughter. So all the updates are being posted there. So feel free to check it out and follow. Jill gave me permission to share that page publicly.
Awesome.
So
yep,
there
and I follow it, so definitely looking for the updates and trying to send Emily some great encouragement. I think she's got a good chance to beat this. We all got a lot of faith behind her and prayers, and I think she's going to do well.
That's right. So if you're watching, Emily, get well soon. We're praying for you, and keep on smiling.
Awesome. Well, we got our buddy Kevin joining us. We're talking about a little Bardstone Publishing. They got a new banner behind you there.
Yeah. Oh, hello, Samantha. Sammy's chiming in there.
Yeah, talked to Sammy. I think last week we chatted for just a bit, and that she seems doing well down there in warm, sunny Florida, and that getting some art going on. And unfortunately, shows continuing to be canceled. We did hear Tampa Bay is going on though, Tampa Bay Comic Con in July. So
I am so excited for that.
Yep.
I hope it doesn't. Hopefully, the decision won't get reversed. But if it does occur, and we're able to get the tables that we're hoping to get, that may be the official debut of Bardstone Publishing. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yep.
We have some exciting plans too. The timing of it is perfect. Hey, Connie, the timing of that show is really perfect for our schedule. In that we have Kevin's Poe Macabre Master, which might as well share that results right now while I have it here. Where are you, Poe? I'm just a Poe boy. There he is. So we got the Poe Kickstarter going on, and what's nice is we only have 1 week left to go, so you still have time to be part of this. We have 70 backers. We're at 2,600 right now. We just passed the second stretch goal, so we're on our way to stretch goal number 3. We have Kevin's added some great products here. One of them for a reward is how far down is it? Drum roll, long drum roll, really long drum roll. Where is it? There we go. There it is. Ah.
Okay. I did the he's got add-ons to his school, and I did the $20 add-on for the t-shirt.
Yeah, I definitely want the t-shirt. So he's added a great t-shirt to the mix that I look forward to wearing. I can get a few more of his Kickstarters going. I'll have a whole line of Kevin Meinhardt fashion wear. I got the creatures and creators and Poe and who knows what's next. We just need a shirt with a whole bunch of Kevin's faces all over it.
Yeah, and I saw where it's our friends at T-24 going to be printing that up for him, which is great.
That's
so
right.
keeping it kind of in the Con family here, and
plus going with T-24, you're getting quality, so that's what's really good about it.
Yep. So which I'm wearing our Odd Musings shirt, which you can get through them over at T-24.com/odd, and so definitely check that out.
So if you want to be part of the Poe Macabre Master fundraiser here, you can go to our Bardstone page, go to our Odd Musings page. We've been posting links, or go to Kickstarter, do a search there for Poe Macabre Master, or go to bardstone.com. We have a Kickstarter page that has the link in it. So any of those ways to get to it, be part of it. And the timing of Tampa Bay, what's really cool is that we're not guaranteeing it yet because, with COVID-19, we don't know timeframes, but it is possible we may actually be able to have copies on hand too. Also, we're going to time the Crimson Shadows Kickstarter to be ending just after Tampa Bay. So I'm going to come up with a special exclusive Tampa Bay Kickstarter reward that if you do it during the Tampa Bay Comic-Con, you'll get at the show, sign up on the spot, you'll get an extra bonus reward. So these are just things we're talking about, but I'm hoping this will all kick off and we'll get into Tampa like we want.
Yep. And 7 days ago, tonight, 7:00 Eastern, we're going to be live with Kevin, talking about Poe, talking about Bardstone. Join us there. And then next week, we'll do another live show for the last hour because it ends at 8:00 Eastern time, and we'll wrap down the ending of that. So definitely join in. As it being fully funded and the book is done, there's not
Book
going to
is
be much
done.
wait time. So this book is going to come out as fast as we can get the money from Kickstarter,
Yep.
get it printed, and get it shipped to you. So we're looking at an August timeframe for the delivery, if not sooner. No guarantees on sooner,
Yep.
but we're looking at August for sure, and try to get everything out to everybody. So
Even with the packaging, a lot of the rewards and stuff, Kevin's got a lot of that done as well. So there really is no risk to this. The only question is with COVID-19, will it mess up the timing? But it will definitely happen. Everything is in place. So there's no risk. This is as guaranteed as you can get for a Kickstarter.
yep. So definitely check it out. Support our first Kickstarter as a partnership under Bardstone. Kevin, this is his sixth or seventh, eighth maybe, and he's always delivered and got great quality products to you. So we're definitely looking forward to being a part of that, as well as the upcoming Crimson Shadows. And Crimson Shadows is looking really good. I've got lettered through, I think, page 12 or 13 now. 12 now.
Awesome.
So
Awesome.
and he's got his garage is full of swag.
Swag.
So, yeah.
Lynn,
You know, and I mentioned a
what?
little bit last week for Tampa Bay. This can be the start of the last of the shows I'll have fan art at. I'm not going to be ordering anymore. Whatever I have is what I have. Anything fan artish going forward is going to be like it'll be done as sketch covers, one-off original drawings, and stuff like that. But I will not be doing multiple prints anymore because I want to concentrate on book publishing. Nothing against the prints. I'm not where I flipped from what I said before. I still think they're a great thing if you want to do that, but it's not the direction I always wanted to go. It was always meant to be temporary and it went a little longer than normal. But now that we're getting this going, I'd rather concentrate on getting new books out, whether I'm working with you guys on the Crimson Shadows, the other stuff we come up with, continuing on with my Boomtown stuff, which is all now going to become part of Bardstone Publishing too. In cooperation with that. So, and anything new that I develop as well. So it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's really exciting. So wherever we go, we're also going to, I'm looking into, I believe I can create a link in the page where you could sign up for updates on our Kickstarters also. So I'm looking into that. I think it's through MailChimp. I can create a thing that I can embed into websites. So any of you who are interested in knowing when a book goes live, we'll be able to send you on our mailing list. And we won't abuse the mailing list, so purely for Kickstarter communications only. And we won't obviously sell or share.
No, because that always sucks, and who wants to get a bunch of crap from people?
Does.
So
yeah,
we just want the information we sign up for, nothing else.
That's right. So on that note, we took care of business.
Yes, so business is done on that. I was talking to Scott before we got on the air. I ended up watching, and I pulled this up a bunch of pictures, that the new Stargirl come up on CW. Now, I have not been watching the CW shows, except I did watch the Crisis on Infinite Earths this year, and that rounded up the Arrow story primarily, and then other stuff. And it's kind of neat to watch that. But I watched this first episode, and it wasn't bad. It was kind of interesting to see the Justice Society on there, see where it's going. And this picture here, let me see up here. Probably it's just links. So yeah, there's Luke Wilson's a big part of it. Amy Smart, who I hadn't seen her in a few years on things, is playing Stargirl's mom. And then and it's got, we're gonna have some different villains. They haven't introduced all the characters here yet. We did meet them as person. So like this one here, she was sitting at the table that she met at school, and definitely it's got the typical school dynamics going on with the bullies and everything else, and feels very, typical on that. Here's the jocks picking up on everybody and picking on the lesser kids. There's the table they call the singles table because they have no friends, and then there's, you tell the cheerleader group they have no gymnastics. You find out because the Stargirl wants to be a gymnast, and there's no gymnastics. So they moved from basically LA or whatever to Nebraska. And of course, in the first episode, you see that one of the villains that was fighting the Justice Society at the beginning. So you get to see a Justice Society fight too, which is kind of cool. So I would recommend just checking it out. And
what's interesting is the character herself. If you don't know the comics, she comes across as being like a Captain America ripoff, but that really is what her costume looks like in the comics.
Yeah, so there was also, they were golden age, so it was early on superhero stuff. So it's very similar, and the Starman is who was her predecessor, and she's got the power from the staff and that. So she's not Captain America, but it's definitely the star aspect in blue and red, white, blue. That was, of course, a typical theme a lot in the 40s, especially during the World War II with the patriotism and that. So.
Right. So I just wanted to point out, it's not actually meant to be, it's not a Captain America ripoff. This is actually what the costume looked like And this, like you said, golden age character who comes from back then. So
Yeah.
they actually looks like they did very true to the historical look of the costume for the show.
Yeah, and what I liked too was it was written by Jeff Johns, and I enjoy his
Yeah.
writing. And
I'm
if
gonna
he's
have to
kind of
check it
helping
out.
to craft it, it might go really good. I just don't want to. I lost interest in Supergirl, Flash, all them because they got very repetitive. The fight scenes seem way overly staged the same way, regardless of what show you're watching. So I got bored with it. So I'll give this a little bit of try till it goes. It's like Black Lightning. I watched a lot of the first season of Black Lightning. I stopped watching that because I got out of interest. I just lost track of time and got away from it. I wouldn't mind go back revisiting it, but I enjoyed that storyline a lot better than I was seeing on some of the other shows. So I'm hoping that with Jeff Johns involved, things like that. We see that going, but it's like I want to go through some. They had like Joel McHale played Starman, so you have different big names that popped up in this first episode. Lou Ferrigno Jr. Plays Rex Taylor, Our Man. Henry Thomas plays Dr. Midnight. So I mean, it's pretty cool. There's a lot of in that you have Neil Hopkins Nelson. There's a couple people I didn't really know, but I was like, this is kind of cool. We're seeing some actual name people that have been around different things. Luke Wilson's been acting for years, and I like him as an actor, and I think he's gonna play a really. I hope this is more than just a limited run for him.
What's Luke?
Amy's smart too. So.
Oh, you said Luke Wilson.
Yeah, he plays Pat Dugan, aka
I was
Stripe.
thinking, I was thinking Owen Wilson. What's Owen Wilson's always? He has a catchphrase, doesn't he? He's like oh man.
It's the way he kind of talks, and his nose is broken from fights and from his younger stuff like that. So, but you got like Brainwave, Icicle, these different villains and stuff like that, and then you had like Wildcat, Dr. Midnight, Tigress, all these different people that have popped up in this first episode. That was kind of cool to see these different heroes and villains.
Based upon your watching of this episode, do you feel like this could be a rebirth of the CW Arrowverse, as we call it?
Well, considering that they killed off Oliver Queen in Arrow, and they ended that series. So that series is done and over with. All of the CW series have been renewed for next year, all coming out in January when they're going to start refilming soon when all that opens up. But I think this is a departure from those, and it's going to be its own thing. Being set in Nebraska, the setting gets a more of a central United States look to it, so that way we can get something that's not big city. She's in a small town, and
but this is writing wise, this felt like a departure, didn't it?
Oh yeah, no, that's what I was getting at. It's complete departure. It's not tying. They've not mentioned anything so far in this first episode about any of the other heroes. They mentioned the Justice Society. Listen. No, listen. They didn't mention any other heroes. So with that, they've set this up to be its own thing, to be its own universe, possibly. So and hopefully they're not going to tie it into the other shows at this time. If they're going to, unfortunately, I think they might do like they've done with Supergirl and all that, and have it as multiple Earths, things like that. But for right now, it seems to be its own fixture. And as it goes on, hopefully then we'll see if it's going to be tied into the universe they've set up on the CW.
Well, and the reason why I'm asking is because this also coincides with the news breaking that Ruby Rose is leaving Batwoman. So I'm just wondering, are they trying to do some kind of tonal shift? Because the Arrowverse did extremely well those initial years. And one of the things as Comic-Con artists, we see how the sales go. And you could see when the shift occurred where all of a sudden nobody wanted Arrowverse art. Nobody cared about Felicity. Nobody cared about the Flash anymore. All of a sudden there was nothing. No talk, nothing. So I'm just wondering if they're trying to make a shift tonally to try to gain back some of those fans they lost.
I think so. And you're dealing with a younger hero where the other heroes started to feel older. Everybody's a little more mature. So now we're dealing with a teenage hero who reminds me a lot of Hayden Panettiere from when she was on Heroes in terms of that age and that look a little bit.
Like her too.
Yeah. So I think they are going for that younger crowd because that's been their bread and butter all these years. The CW has. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes along with everything going on. It doesn't mean I'm going to start watching the other shows. I mean, I think of the shows I watched, the Legends of Tomorrow longest, and when I just stopped watching them all, that one went on for a while and I stopped just watching it. But I still kind of like that one because it didn't fall into some of the same trappings as Supergirl did. Arrow got just too much political dealing with the whole mayor stuff and then tied up into things. They lost direction of Arrow after
Yeah.
the 5th season when they finished up all the backstory stuff.
Right.
And at that point, it's probably they had nowhere to get because they didn't. Years planning that was it, and the show went 8. The Flash, unfortunately, got caught up in too much of time travel and rebooting time and changing time, and that just
They
got to
got
be
trapped
old.
in their own time loop trying
Pretty
to
much.
write this thing.
Pretty much. So
Yeah.
I just really didn't care for that. Black Lightning, like I said, I watched a little bit of that. That was fun, and Black Lightning was kind of its own thing too for the longest time. And it did tie into the other ones a little bit, but it's always been kind of its own premise. But again, I only watched part of the first season, and I think it's been on 3 or 4 now. And it's one I might go back and revisit eventually. But around the time I started watching, I was kind of already done with the CW stuff, so I just didn't continue on with it. I just saw some postings about this. People are liking the CW. I saw where Jeff John. I was like, you know what? Let me give this a try. I recommend checking it out and making your own decision on that. But I like the
question.
So yeah.
Now, these are Golden Age heroes. Is the time frame of the show set today, or is it also set back farther back?
At first, I thought it was the way it started because you see a classic 50s car and they're using 50s music. It was set then, but it's set now.
Okay.
So it's a modern story. And it's like I said, just JSA, it was 10 years prior to where the episode ends up being at. So the JSA ended, and this is prior to Arrow coming out, Flash, and all them. So those heroes and villains didn't have any impact on what was going on, like in Central City and Coast City and all that stuff. So,
cool.
So it's really interesting. It's gonna be. I definitely think it's a departure and a relaunch in a lot of ways within the CW's superhero lineup of movies. But we'll see where it goes. Speaking of which, just a separate note, I did see next week is the HBO Max launch. And I'm gonna hopefully I'll check it out because I have AT&T Universe, which we get HBO on, and they say if you have Uverse with you should be able to get Max for free. So I'm looking forward to checking out some of the stuff that's going to pop up there because they're talking about the new Green Lantern series. They should have all the DC series popping on there, Titans, things like that. So maybe I can get caught up on a lot of that too.
Yeah, and then also in the world of superheroes, they also announced season 2 of Umbrella Academy.
Yes, real excited about this. I love the video promo with all of them at home, kind of doing their own thing, but announcing the show.
Yeah. So they're keeping in the whole shelter in place thing. Everyone doing Zoom and all these things. So I don't know if they have a picture in here, but here it is.
Yeah.
So this is the announcement here. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to Umbrella Academy. I thoroughly enjoyed the first season, and then I wonder if this means we'll soon hear something about The Boys season 2 also.
Yeah, that's what I shared that in someone commented. I'm waiting to hear on The Boys. I was like, I figure that's coming. It's going to come probably sometime after this. A lot of these series announcements are changed because there's not going to be the San Diego Comic-Con, or we were supposed to have Denver Comic-Con with almost the entire cast of the Umbrella Academy there. So that's I think was going to be a big launching pad for the series launching at the end of July, along with San Diego. But I expect to hear something from The Boys in the next couple weeks as they're staggering these announcements. So it's I'm looking forward to it. And then I did see a thing about Stranger Things. Looks like it's pushed back to 2021 right now.
So here it is. It's July 31st is the date for Umbrella Academy. So that'll be pretty cool.
So that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to that. Cool. It got me. I read the first graphic novel, and it was interesting to see the differences between the graphic novel and what they did in the series. I like them both independently. The series did a great job of trying to translate that to the screen, which is always can be a difficult thing, and still stay as true to the characters as they can. I think you did a great job. So I was really excited about that.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah.
It's already 10:30. How did that happen?
Well, yeah, we worry about not having something to talk about, but we end up talking about whatever, and we go fast on this show. So
yeah.
So anybody?
so part of the promo for this episode is, can you believe Empire Strikes Back is 40 years old tomorrow?
I know. That's why I bought this. I showed it a couple weeks ago, and it was the probe droid in honor of the Empire Strikes Back. So when we first see the probe droid, and since then it's popped up in multiple different aspects of Star Wars, especially during the last couple seasons of Rebels. It was really, they had to use a lot of probe droids, slightly different variation of it, but definitely probe droids are a big part of the Empire. And But yeah, 40 years. And it's funny. I'm trying to, it's take us with this. The people are posting that when Empire came out, nobody liked it. And it was like The Last Jedi. I was like, no, that's not true. Everybody
No,
liked
that's
Empire
not
that I
true
know
at
of.
all. The
Empire was
critics,
huge.
the critics didn't like Empire, but the
The critics
fans
didn't like
loved it.
the critics didn't like
Yeah,
any Star Wars movie, so
no.
they
But
hated
I
them
love
all.
how they try to compare that to Last Jedi. Last Jedi, the critics loved it and the fans hated it. You
Yeah,
can't. They're polar opposites.
yeah.
So, oh boy. Anyways,
No, and I thought that was
but
hilarious when I read that. I'm like, okay, you people that love The Last Jedi are still trying to add credence to it. No, it was a mess up. It screwed up the entire trilogy for this last trilogy by having everything they did. But no, Empire was not. Empire was a continuation and did a great job of continuing the story. And I think you posted it right. You were like what 6 when you saw the
I
trailer on
was
TV
sick.
for it.
Yeah, I remember clearly, and it really is true. It's such a different age now, and a part of it's cool in one way, but it's sad in another. Kids today, there is no such thing as surprise. Like I remember sitting in my house and this commercial comes on for Empire Strikes Back. And I remember cheering and screaming and running around. I remember clearly the scene of the TIE fighter at the end of it hitting the asteroid and then spinning and blowing up into the screen.
Mm-hmm.
And this was an era when sequels weren't like now it's a guarantee. They write movies with the intent of being a trilogy. There was no such thing as prequels. There was no such things as, and sequels were rare when they happened. It
Yeah.
was so, and we didn't have the internet where by the time the commercial came out, we already know everybody who's cast. We know the whole story. We know where they shot locations. We know the costumes. We knew nothing. And all of a sudden,
Because we had to wait for Starlog.
Aired.
Yeah, so we waited for magazines like Starlog to tell us what was going to happen and things like that. And a lot of that stuff was hitting the time the movie's coming out. So you go see the movie, then you'd run to the magazine rack and try to find one, the comic adaptation. Number 2 would be all the movie magazines like Starlog and things like that to find out all the deep behind the scenes and things like that. And and even then, that was starting around Empire.
He had like 5 photos.
Yeah,
and he had like 5 photos.
Yeah, and there's a lot of the same photos used over and over, but we gobbled it all up because we wanted more information and things like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, in terms of sequels were it's an interesting thing. I studied this when I studied film. Sequels did happen a lot, but they weren't the sequels we know today. It was things like back in the 30s, and they had a hit. They had like a hit of the Gold Diggers of 1933 or something like that. So guess what? They had a new movie out for several years. Gold Diggers of 34, 35, 36. Right. And it was basically they were just remaking the same movie. That was their sequels then. And then you had shorts that continue on that were not sequels, but there's many shorts. But then you had movies that dealt with the same actress, but stuff like so. You had the Shirley Temple movies, but then you had like Andy Hardy movies. The Andy Hardy movies were the same characters, and they were sequels, but they were all independent movies. Where now it's like we have to have a direct continuation
like Dirty
from the previous. Yeah, it has to be a direct continuation now. Where before it was like, here's this character, like we'll create different ones, and you had The Man with No Name, where multiple movies, but it was all different.
And a lot of times when sequels happened, it was because, well, the movie did well enough. Let's write a movie. But there was never a plan for a continuation of the story. And that's why so many times sequels are worse than the originals. However, the beauty with this one is it was never intended to be a sequel. The way George Lucas wrote Star Wars, it was intended to be one movie. And when he started shooting it, he realized, wow, I wrote way too much story. So he broke it up into 3 acts. And the Star Wars we see in 1977 was the first act. So Empire was always meant to be part of a larger story from the beginning. So that's pretty cool. Now, it wasn't written exactly like that because there were a lot of changes. The actual intended sequel came out as a book called Splinter of the Mind's Eye.
Yes.
So, but there was a larger story arc that was already at least drafted that Empire became the canon version of what the sequel was. But another thing people don't realize with Empire, we kind of take it for granted. It had, every movie George Lucas released in Star Wars shattered special effects expectations. And one of the things when you go back and watch the old behind the scenes is nobody ever shot special effects scenes in snow, because you needed the black background of space so you could cut out the things, the matting process that they do to hide all cut lines and everything else. And there was a real problem with how to do this on white.
Mm-hmm.
And he figured out ways. And when you go back to the original, you actually you can see through the cockpit because the way they had to overlay it, there's a light transparency. So you actually see through the metal bars on this snow speeder at some point. And then when he did the special edition, he fixed it. But at the time, it's happening so fast you don't notice, you
Right.
know. So it was really revolutionary. What doing stop motion with this pure white snow and background and daylight, that was hard to do at the time.
Well, and that's what the brilliance of George Lucas was. He started up Lucasfilm and having the special effects division create this stuff instead of trying to find other people. He just built it, brought in people at, you know, basically they were like, he was like, well, what do we do? They're like, just figure it out. He gave them no rules, so they didn't have any rules to follow. So they were able to break every rule that was out there and go beyond what was known at the time for special effects.
My favorite quote was, I think it was Dennis Dykstra. Oh, I'm blanking on Mirren. I'm blanking on his name. I met him too in person.
John
Anyways,
Dykstra?
he was. It might be. He was the genius behind how to do this stuff, and I loved an interview with him. And he said we were all fresh out of college, and we were too stupid to know this couldn't be done, because all the experts said you can't make this movie, and they're like, why not? they figured it out. Had they been more knowledgeable, their knowledge would have actually have stopped them from doing the risks they took.
Well, and that's the thing. It's the when anything happens good, like new technologies come out, things like that, a lot of it boils down to, well, I just didn't know it couldn't be done, so I just did it. And that's the thing. It's they brought in all this young talent and said, look, you know, here's what I need, figure out how to do it. And they were figuring out, they built new cameras, they built new mounts, they developed the cameras that, and put basically on like a control arm that it moved the same way each time, so they could do the different layers of filming within the same shots, so they could create the different scenes they need, especially during the first Star Wars. The dogfighting sequences were revolutionary, and dealing with dealing with the way they did it, and with the models and the lengths. A lot of stuff was always clunky, and they had to do a lot of like green screenish type things, or chroma key back then. But they create a lot of
and a big part was the motion control cameras.
Yep.
See, in the past, the camera would be stationary, and you'd have to figure out how to move the ship by the camera. And then they figured out, wait a minute, why can't we keep the ship stationary and just move the camera how we want to make it look like it's moving? And that was revolutionary. A simple thought like that took them down a whole path of how do we do it this way?
Yep.
You know, that's why the old ones, it was always some ship on a string, because you had to figure out how to move it by the screen, you know. But once you take away the reference points of the background and you film something on black, you move the camera, it gives the illusion that the ship is moving, not the camera. So it's stuff like that. You probably remember the number in the Disney Gallery, I think episode 2, Kathleen Kennedy says how many patents George Lucas has in Hollywood. It's like well over 1,000.
Oh God, I forget how many it is exactly.
But
that was
go ahead.
I forget the number. Yeah, I forget the number on that. So let me Google that real quick.
But I really think, you know, when people talk movie makers, George Lucas is a lot of times left out of the conversation. But I think he's the name that 100 years from now people will most know, and he'll be most recognized. I think he's the single most important person in Hollywood. You look at the advances he did with special effects, and we got Industrial Light and Magic. Advances in sound. He had THX sound. Advances with he was the originator with Pixar to create high-end animation, and that ended up moving on to other owners, but he was the founding person of that. His push to do digital projectors in the movie cinemas. So many things are tied to him that people don't even realize, surround sound and all this stuff. So it's quite amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see the actual number. There's a couple websites talk about it, and he's got tons
Oh
of
yeah.
patents and that. And that was the beauty of it. He set up his own companies early on. And I mean, we always talked about like merchandising with him. He was great at merchandising and keeping that and getting that deal when nobody wanted the merchandising. But it was also developed when they ever developed stuff, they patented it and they allow other companies easily to use it. They're not gouging them or no, you can't touch it. But if you look at almost all the movies out there, at some point, I would say at least 80% of the Main Street movies go through ILM at some point, whether it's Skywalker sound, something with visual effects. They bring in the teams in there, and they are responsible for changing filmmaking for the better, and then allowing other companies to emerge that have done their own great things like Weta and other special effects stuff. And even those, though, they still all piggybacked off of Ray Harryhausen and what he had done back in the 50s and 60s and things like that. So it's all this combination. So, but George is going to be the central, I think, for the modern era from the 70s on that changed the way we see films, understand films, watch films, and enjoy them. Because he brought all aspects to it between his THX sound system, the digital systems he helped create, and everything else.
Even with the storytelling, prior to him, he's the one that brought classical music, like orchestras, into the theme music again. And he realized the music was part of the story instead of just inserting some theme song from some pre-made song into the mix. He orchestrated this. He wanted the theme songs to match the characters and tell its own story. And he's the one that brought that back into movies.
Yes, and it'd been used a little bit. I mean, Spielberg did that with Jaws, had their own theme and things like that. But having this full orchestration that really, this music really helped. If you watch Star Wars without the music, it wouldn't have the impact. What John Williams did, and did Jaws and things like that, it really brought the music into it. And he knew that, I think, long prior to it, but really he emphasized it with what he did with American Graffiti. He used a lot of the music from that era, and music was always constantly playing through that. And I think it helped to impact how he decided to do Star Wars by didn't want anything modern, but he wanted its own sound. Because even American Graffiti, using the music of the 50s and early 60s, had its own sound with that. So it needed to continue that on because it helped keep that going. The musical undertones really just keep everything flowing.
Yeah, and throughout with the storytelling of the music, even something as simple as like when Anakin, we got the 15-year anniversary coming up of Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, and you got like when Anakin's turning the dark side, you hear that sad sounding Darth Vader theme music play slowly, and he's turning. Subtle things like that we as fans identify with that music to certain scenes. So when you then reinsert it at a different point, it without telling anything with words, the emotion gets flooded into the scene, and it's such a powerful tool.
Yes.
So it's so well done. But Empire Strikes Back in and of itself, I'm curious to know, and I don't know it off the top of my head, but it's widely regarded as the best movie in all of the Star Wars movies. I would be interested to know, though, like hardcore fans that are maybe under 20, like what's their favorite movie out of all 9 films? It'd be interesting to see, like, does it tend to be whichever trilogy was out when you were 10 years old tends to be one of those films, or is Empire even the best amongst them? I don't know.
And that's an interesting question. Maybe that's something we'll have to pose when we're at Comic-Con, talking with people that are younger and see what their take is. It's hard because a lot of the younger crowd has, depending on whether it's male or female, a lot of the younger females have really embraced Rey and that trilogy and her story. A lot of them still have a lot of reverence for Princess Leia, but they resonated with Rey. When we get into some of the older crowds, different women have always resonated with Leia, but a lot of them, even when it wasn't shown as much in the early movies, had kind of resonated with the different characters like a Luke or Han in their own way, and understanding that there is more than just males in those movies. They just centered on those particular males and one female. But it's I think that a lot of it's going to matter on when you saw it, how you were introduced to Star Wars. If you had a parent that was a Star Wars fan that introduced you when you were younger and showed you what I consider the proper way, which is the original trilogy prior to the prequels, and then maybe you're going to resonate more with a Luke, Leia, and Han, or Chewie, and then the droids or whatever. So It's an interesting concept, though.
Yeah.
Thought about it.
Well, and even how you watch it too. Like if you start with episode 1 and go all the way through in order of the episodes, you know, I have a feeling the prequels will actually be far better because now the moments that happen that are shocking in the prequels, they're not shocking to us because we already knew Vader was Anakin. We knew he was going to turn against Obi-Wan. So all those things were just like part of the story that we knew was coming. We just want to know how it played out. But if you started in episode 1 going straight through, those will actually be surprising moments. And maybe your heavy moment, like when for us it was Luke, I am your father. Whereas now when you get to Empire, you already know Vader is Luke's dad because of the prequel. So the viewing order you do will have very different defining moments because of what you know or don't know, depending on the order.
Yeah, I'd be interested to sit with somebody and show them the movies. In a lot of ways, what they call the machete cut, I think would be a great way to do it. You start off with A New Hope, and then you go into Empire, and then at the end of Empire, once you learn about Anakin, then you go do the prequels and come back to Jedi and round it out. And that's I think an interesting way of doing it. And a lot of it says you can skip episode 1. I wouldn't. I think there's some stuff in there to see with Anakin younger, which explains more of in episode 2 why he does some things he does that leads to episode 3.
Plus, if you don't watch episode 1, you miss Filoni's awesome explanation of Qui-Gon Jinn. And you also miss Darth Maul, which now is a far more important character now that he's in Clone Wars and everything else. And plus Solo, the Solo story. I would definitely watch that. So it's all, there's all, actually, maybe start with Solo, go to Rogue One, then 4, 5, 6. No, I like 4, 5, like you said, then 1, 2, 3, then 6, then 7, then 9. Oh, and 1 hour of 8.
Yeah. Of course, we're talking with Jill about this. We can get her really confused when she starts to watch it. We'll start off with A New Hope. Empire Strikes Back. She'll go back, watch episode 1, episode 2, the entire Clone Wars series. Or actually, we can really screw her up and go start with Solo, Rebels, Rogue One, A New Hope, Empire, then go back to the prequels. After the prequels, you do Jedi, and then from there you do Mandalorian.
Exactly. Here, I'm gonna post.
And you skip Resistance altogether.
Yes, that didn't even occur. Here we go. Let's see here. This is how you explain Star Wars to somebody. There you have the timeline. You see exactly how everything interconnects. No two things ever get released in the same order. It's like, what part of the time? This is also why I think it's a mistake for Disney to get rid of the opening crawl. Because the way they release movies and series, the opening crawl at least can tell the viewer, okay, here's where we are. And, or if you have some kind of numbering system or dating system that you put into the crawl, people can say, oh, okay, I am now at this point. Han Solo's 10 years old right now. Okay, I know where I am. You know what I mean? We need that reference point because they jump all over the place all the time.
Yeah, and I think it'd be interesting with the future movies because they keep talking about this crawl was only going to be the Skywalker, but I think you're right. They should have, continue to treat it like the serial that it is. And it's a new story, you still have Star Wars, whatever they're going to call it, in terms of the overall trilogy even. And then, here's part 1 or whatever, or part 2. But they don't have to call them even episodes if they want to do that. But at least have the crawl. I like the crawl. I've always enjoyed it. It gives you here's our reference point for what's happening since the last episode. And that's like for Empire. It took place a couple years afterwards, so there was a time jump, and he did that with each film because they were 3 years out a piece. So
they could have every new movie start off with Shatner going Captain's Log, Stardate.
Well, and that's part of Star Trek. They had a Captain's Log, Stardate, got you right into it. And this is where we're at now in our timeline. And it gave a reference point for all the movies and TV series, things like that. So,
so you knew where you were.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yep. And then what else was there for Star Wars news that came out? We had Ahsoka's got a series coming. Oh, Timothy Olyphant.
Yeah, he's going to be
Olyphant.
in the Boba Fett armor, but he's not playing Boba Fett.
Correct. Yep. So I'll be curious to see how this all unfolds. I'm looking forward to it. If you're an expanded universe fan, there's a character called Jodo Cast that wore Boba Fett's armor and was imitating him. I won't give spoilers as to what that character's storyline is. But I'm hoping, because Filoni is such a fan of the expanded universe, I hope this works into this arc. I think it'll be cool. But if not, I'm sure he'll tell a good story no matter what it is. So.
Yeah, I was trying to, let me see if I can find it here. It was because several articles came out yesterday. I was all over the different geek news and that. See what they say here. Yeah, they're we won't find out whether Oliphant is Cobb Vanth is what they're calling him in this. Until we see it drop. But the rumor is that he is playing a character like that. He's a self-appointed sheriff of a settlement at Tatooine. So, and basically that was tied into the Aftermath series of books. So I think that's the direction they're pulling from. And then Filoni will have probably some, and Favreau, some leeway to incorporate similar aspects from the expanded universe prior to that becoming not canon. So,
yeah.
But,
and then along the lines of science fiction, they also announced the official name of the new Pike series. Mm-hmm. It's going to be called Strange New Worlds, and they're going to make it more optimistic and episodic than what we've seen in Discovery and Picard.
I think it's cool. They're kind of going back to a more of a traditional Star Trek type series, so that'll be fun.
And I think it'll fit the feel, of the original series, which this will then theoretically become the almost like kind of like Rogue One filled in all the data of that one line of, they stole the plans. This will fill in all the information of what the pilot episode was, and you're going to get the whole backstory that leads in. I'm reading they're casting a young Kirk. So we'll see Kirk as whatever rank he was at that point in the story. We'll see him as a crew member. So
I think I forget what he was. But he probably was like a lieutenant or something at that point. And
who would you cast as a young Shatner?
Well, that depends. I mean, if they're going to go that route, I don't know. I think you're going to have to find an unknown. But if they do like you did with the movies, I mean, they got Chris Pine, and he didn't try to be Shatner. He was Chris Pine. And I think he did just fine. I liked him in that. So
I want to get what's his name? The comedian who does the voice awesomely.
Kevin Pollak?
Pollock. Let's get Pollock.
Let's put him in a
Yeah, but he does the voice perfect.
I like his bit though. He does the bit.
It could be like Darth Maul. We can hire a young actor to play him, but have Pollock voice him.
Yeah. Well, you got to go back and Google Kevin Pollak doing the Shatner stuff, because I like he talks about it. He does this thing where he does the door sound like, shoo, he comes sliding in like Kirk, and he's like, yes, it's my turn as captain.
Speaking of which, did you watch those short treks yet?
I watched a couple of them. They were pretty good.
Did you see the origin of the Tribbles?
No.
Oh, they give the origin story of the Tribbles. You got to see it.
I'll check that out.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
After I finished Discovery season 2, I haven't really pulled up the CBS app, so I'm just waiting for new stuff to pop on there. And I know a series. Have you checked out that Uploaded yet?
Not yet. That's on my to-do list.
I finished that. I watched it. I liked it. It's I think I mentioned a couple weeks ago. It's a quirky series. It's fun. I definitely want to see a second season, and really just because the way it ended, it was like, okay, this is kind of cool the way they're kind of going with this, and tying it into the real world versus this virtual realm and everything else. So definitely check it out. It's going to be. I think it got some good potential there.
Nice. Yeah, I like that's Robbie Amell.
Yes.
Cousin to
brother. I think he's brother. Yeah, they did a movie together. It's up on Netflix too. I watched and it was okay. But he's good in this. It was funny, it was quirky, it was interesting. It
And
reminds me of a mix of a
Kevin
couple
says it
things.
was great too. Looks
Yeah,
like Kevin watched it as well. So
yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to another season on that. And I've had a couple people comment to me online on my Facebook page about it, and I'm like, yeah, I liked it a lot. So definitely check that out. So,
all right, cool.
and
Very good stuff coming out. We got Umbrella Academy and all those things like we talked about. Hopefully movies come back out at some point.
Unhinged is supposed to be the first film in theaters, I guess.
That's what they're saying. But now we got, whether you agree with him or not, that I'm not getting into that. But Trump is saying he's going to start his own orders to open things up and force things open. And so who knows? Maybe we will have movies in June. I don't know.
Well,
if they do open, I'm going to go.
Yeah, I miss going. It's funny. All the articles now are like saying, "Oh, 70% of people would rather sit home and watch movies." I'm like, yeah, that was the way it was before. But I always liked the experience. It's like I picked up on Blu-ray this week, and I know it's on Disney Plus, but I picked up the Disney Pixar Onward, and it's got all the cool special effects and or stuff behind the scenes stuff. Came with a little chart, and then I wanted the physical copy because eventually it will not be streaming, no matter what they do. They will take it off eventually. But I got to see it in a theater, and
I loved it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I watched it again at home, loved it, enjoyed it, but I was really glad I got to see it in the theater. Seeing a movie with a crowd around you, even if it's not a packed crowd, on a big screen with the sound, whether you're not eating popcorn is arbitrary, but it's just that feeling is much better when you see those movies. And I don't want all these movies being released on home just to see them at home first, and that's it.
Yeah.
I'd rather see them on the big screen. And while they keep talking about how things are going to change, stuff like that, eventually we're going to go back to, people going to the movies again. I'm looking forward to that, and I want to see these movies. I want to see Wonder Woman when it comes out. I want to see the new Ghostbusters, and I don't want to see these on home. They're talking about bringing Bill and Ted's Face the Music to video on demand and not doing a theater release. I'm a little bummed about that because one, it was on my birthday weekend. Number two, I wanted to see it on a bigger screen because I saw the other two movies on the big screen. I'm like, I just want to see that. I don't want it to feel like a made-for-TV movie.
Yeah. In movies like Star Wars or Jurassic World or any of those high action movies, it is so different on the big screen than in your house. So
So hopefully we'll get some movies back soon. I know we're seeing some drive-ins pop up here and there, and they're showing some movies. But I can't wait for our local theaters to start opening up again so I can start going back again, especially on Popcorn Tuesday. I miss Popcorn Tuesday. So
yeah, definitely. Well, I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, me too. So cool. Well, I think we covered everything, didn't we, today?
We did. The world is safe once again.
Yes. So, well, we're going to be here tonight, coming through the Bardstone page and Odd Musings page. So definitely check us out there. If you're watching us on the YouTube, make sure you get on Facebook and like us on Odd Musings on Facebook. And if you're on Facebook, go to the YouTube and find us on there and like us there too. Because we are still doing Odd Musings streaming both to Facebook and YouTube. And we'll be uploading the audio, so you still have the audio options for that too, since we do talk a lot and not just show visual stuff all the time. So, but I don't know. I guess it's about it for today. But join us 7 p.m. Eastern time. I think also, unfortunately, Sammy will be streaming at the same time on hers, so she does some great streams on hers. So definitely check her out there. So until next week, episode 155 next week. One double nickel coming up. We'll see you guys then.